Some kiteboarding action at Hood River. It's in the Maine. It's the Maine. Pretty cool. It's weird. There you go. Hey guys, this is Radu. So I just want to mention that yesterday I was out with my wife at a pretty popular place, you know, where there's a lot of kiteboarders and kiteboarding action going on over there. And of course, you know, I mean, yeah, I have a few kites myself, you know, some bigger ones, you know, and I had one with me that was an 8-meter, but the wind was just not good enough for me, and since I don't do that very much. So, but I had my 2-meter that I've been flying for a while, and you know, I figured, well, I just mess around with that until, you know, the wind will be good enough for me to fly mine, the bigger one, you know. And so I didn't even pump it or anything like that. But I launched my 2-meter, got in the water with it, you know, and probably wind was maybe, I don't know, 20, 25. I'm just guessing. I didn't have a wind meter with me to sure, but I'm just guessing. And got into this water, and this water was pretty cold. It was actually, you know, I had no wetsuit on, no life jacket. Yeah, stupid, but and that was okay, you know. I mean, everything went fine, and then got out, took a break, warmed up, dried up again, and launched the kite again, the 2-meter, and got back onto the water, this time really close to the bridge. And the water there was shallow for a while, and it was nice and warm, so I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be much better, you know. So you know, start basically flying the kite, and you know, you do a body drag in the water, you know, and start going to the left, you know, pull myself a little bit, and that was fun, and pulled it back to the right and all that, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, some gust came, and it just all of a sudden find myself much closer to the bridge and in a much deeper water. Now I can't just stand up and turn around, you know. And I try to edge my kite to go more to the shore on the right side, and it didn't matter how much, because in order to do that you have to fly the kite with one hand and one hand in the water, so you can actually use it as an anchor. And well, not anchor, more like a fin, you know, so you can edge yourself, so you can control the direction, kind of like where you're going. But yet this wind was just blowing me downwind instead of actually really, yeah, I mean, I was going a little bit, but not much, you know. And the more I looked, I'm like, okay, now I'm completely in deep water. I was thinking, it's like, okay, there's no option. There's like, you know, have no wetsuit. And it's not so much that I was cold or anything like that, but I didn't have a life jacket on. You know, all I have, my life jacket was the kite. And this kite was not a pumped up kite. This is just a foil kite, 2-meter kite. It's a trainer kite. So, as you can imagine, these bridges in front of you, it's coming, and it's like, you know, it didn't matter how much you can avoid it, you know, it's like, you know, I was getting closer and closer. And I'm not sure exactly how tall, but I can imagine just by my lines, you know, that there were probably, the bridge is probably about 150 feet high, you know, something like that. So I'm getting closer, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe, because if I stop the kite, if I would just go to neutral, which would be right on top of your head, basically you're kind of sinking. I mean, yeah, you're floating a little bit, but you're sinking. So in order to actually stay afloat and move, you have to kind of get the kite into the wind window. So, um, as you can expect, it I got closer and closer. Now, I was thinking maybe I get lucky and I can probably go underneath the bridge, and fly the kite low enough without hitting the bridge. But that didn't happen. It looked like I was hitting the water, and it just wasn't happening. So I tried to go back to neutral, brought it back straight up, and it's like, as soon as when it came and just, my kite hit the bridge right on top, and it got hooked. So, as you can imagine, I have no life jacket on. Those are, wind is pretty gusty, and I'm over there. It's like, and I noticed right away that once my kite got hooked on the top, tried to pull down on it, it wasn't happening. And then some of the lines felt like it was gonna tangle my legs, So that means it got loose, and now I'm like trying to float myself, So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not a good idea. So I just, start wrapping my my rope uh, on the bar, and did that, and then I noticed that it's actually, okay, at least that's not in my way. So the closer I was getting to the bridge, or to the pillar of the bridge, I was just rolling it tight and tight. So I got to a position where, believe it or not, I was hanging by this thread, by two lines of the kite, basically floating in the air. And I was saying, oh my God, God help me. Because I had no life jacket, and I wasn't that close to the shore. Now I can swim, but those waves were not the nicest either. So it's like, I did not know what exactly was going to happen. I did not know what am I going to do. But for time being, it looked like the kite was hooked up really good on top of the bridge, and the lines were hanging me. I mean, it was like basically holding me up. So I was just holding on to the lines, and I was floating on top. And this is a true story, guys. It's like the moment I said, "Oh my God, help me!" These two guys. I mean, this guy and a girl. They were kayaking by, and they went by me first, and then it's like they noticed, I guess, that the kite got hooked into the bridge, and um, they screamed and asked me, it's like, hey, you need help? And I was thinking, yes, thank God, it's like, so they came there and basically rescued me, and maybe they were not thinking they were doing very much, but this video is definitely for them. It was like, it's nice to have good people that cared, because I don't want to think about it. What would have happened? I mean, yes, I mean, my luck was, thank God, that those lines were strong enough, and that the kite didn't come apart. I mean, it's like, yes, my lines were not a normal line that you buy a kite like that, So my lines were for like a, 8-meter lines, I mean, 8-meter kite. So it was like, yes, the lines were designed to hold my weight up there. So there's no problem about the lines. But the kite was, I don't think it was designed for that. It was just a 2-meter kite. So my lines were much heavier than normal for that kite. And, yeah, the bar was not designed for that either. I mean, the bar was good, but the lines that the bar had, that wasn't good enough. So the only thing that was strong, it was my lines from the kite. But because I winded already on the bar, the lines were strong, and the bridle of the kite having so many lines holding the kite, I guess that made it strong enough to hold it. So, yeah. That kite, let's call it, it's a lost. It's still hanging over there on the bridge. left the bar, you know, once I got rescued by these guys, and it's like they were having a hard time taking me to shore because of the waves and the wind, you know, and I guess I was like an extra lead for hanging on to their kayak, even though I tried to pedal as much as I can, you know, but I was still happy to be rescued. And then they had a friend, this guy came and he tried to take me. He was on a single kayak, and even that was hard. And then they flagged down this other guy with a jet ski, and then that guy took me to shore. Thanks to him and to this other 3 persons. The only ones that I remember a name, the guy with the girl and the guy on the kayak. Her name was Dice. I hope I'm saying her name right. And David. I'm assuming they were probably brothers and sisters. And I just want to say thank you and God bless you guys. And you know, it's important to open your eyes, and if you see someone is in trouble, go lend them a hand. I don't make these kind of videos very much, but guys, you know, I knew I was in trouble, and I was hanging basically for my life on those 2 lines. It is just crazy. It's crazy. This will teach you my lessons, that's for sure. Better put a life jacket on. And recommendation, I would say that's not a safe spot to go. Not for beginner kiteboarders, you know, I mean, that's for sure. You do not want to go there. Just because it happened to me, it can happen to you, because when you're on a board, like on a kiteboard, you can edge and you can go where you want it to go. When you're getting dragged, you're not going where you want to go once you're getting blown downwind. At least not there when you had your distance so short to the bridge, and it's like my kite lines were pretty high. Like I said, it was like, if I remember flying it really close, it was basically as tall as the bridge, you know, it's like right where you can walk on. So it's like they were up there, which I guess it was good because it got hooked and it saved me basically for all these guys came there. And you know, everything happened pretty quick, thank God. I mean, I didn't have to be there for a long time hanging, and luckily it was a nice day, a lot of traffic, and you know, I could have probably got saved, you know, by somebody else, but I'm not even gonna go there. I was really happy, you know, to be rescued by this. So again, thank you, Dice and David. Sorry, I can't remember the other guy's name. And I didn't even ask the guy with the jet ski, you know, but he was nice enough to give me, I guess he was renting that jet ski, and he gave me a ride to shore. Thank God I'm alive, and thank God I'm here. And am I gonna do it again? More likely, yeah. I was planning on buying another kite, but definitely gonna put a life jacket on, and I'm not going to that spot again. So I'm just happy that I didn't actually launch my big kite, you know, because I think that would have been, again, some stupid disaster that, you know, like you see. Yeah. Thank you, God, for these people, and God bless them and give them their life desire, and whatever they need in life, help them to achieve what they want. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.